Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's Transportation Application Forum. And this forum is held in part due to the passage of Senate Bill 1045, ratification number 242. That bill passed the House of Representatives and the Senate, both bodies in the state of South Carolina, of course, and has been signed by Governor Henry McMaster. I want to welcome everyone who is participating virtually and also our participants in the hearing room today. And if you don't mind, we did ask persons to please notify us by sometime this week to whether or not they intended to participate. And so we will start, if you don't mind, I'll start with our participants in the hearing room this morning. Mr. Knowles, would you please introduce yourself and your colleagues?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, Ms. Boyd, and thank you for the opportunity to be here. Alex Knowles on behalf of ORS, and with me this morning, Thomas McGill, Tom Allen, and Dina Lusk from ORS's Transportation Department.
Okay, thank you very much. I have to apologize to our court reporter. I really do, Joe. I apologize. Joe was not seated, everybody. I apologize. So let me pause for a minute and make sure she's okay. I just started talking, Joe. I apologize. Are you okay? All right. Mr. Knowles, thank you. Thank you, Mr. McGill, Mr. Allen, Miss Dina, whom I just met. Nice to see you all. Okay. We will continue with Mr. Tarani and Mr. Propowski. If you don't mind, I'm going to ask Ms. Mijares if she would please identify herself, if she'd like to, and the entity on behalf of whom she's appearing.
Yes, ma'am. I'm on behalf of the All My Sons entities. There's a few we have in South Carolina.
All My Sons. It's glad to have you, Ms. Mijares.
Thank you.
Mr. Tarani, would you please identify yourself and the entity or entities or clients that you are representing?
I am Charlie Tarani, and I am here at Proced.
Good morning. Thank you for participating. Mr. Propowski?
Yeah, it's David Popowski of Charleston. I'm not here on behalf of any particular client. I'm here as a longtime attorney in the transportation area and having appeared before the commission for decades now. And I'm here on behalf essentially of myself. I have represented, as the commission knows, All My Sons on multiple matters as well. And so that's why I'm here. So technically, I guess I'm pro se, but I'm not here as a party, as I'm here as a counsel for existing, past, present, and future clients.
Okay. Thank you for being here. And I want to say before we begin, I'm sure all of you know that we have scheduled another forum for transportation regulations. If you don't know, I'm just mentioning it now. And that takes place June 22nd. We wanted to talk with interested persons about the impact of Senate Bill 1045 on the Commission's current regulations. Before we proceed, staff proceeds with publishing any proposed suggested changes. And so if you weren't familiar or had not seen that notice and you're interested, please mark your calendars. If you can, please try to attend that forum also. Okay. We can proceed, everyone, with your comments if you'd like to present those. I don't want to read documents that are available on the website and review those unless someone wants me to. Those are currently published in docket number 2005-83A and also in docket number 2009-167T. So, Ms. Mijares, I will start with you if you don't mind. Would you like for me to review those changes?
I think I'm familiar with most of the changes. I guess my only question was if we were going to go over the process for maximum rate tariff implication for this meeting.
You can ask me questions about it. I will definitely, I have a question. We intend to use the page that's in the Class E application that references, and I will find the page number. Ms. Purvis, may I use the document camera for a minute, please? Thank you, Ms. Purvis. So, Ms. Mijares, we intend to create the sheet that's being displayed now. Can you see it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and it's page 4 of 11 of the Class E certificate proposed or draft application form. So we intend to use that sheet as an application for carriers who need to file their maximum rates with the commission. Of course, they'll be able to use this form. And this form, if you, I will display the website too, now that you asked that question. Use this form as a starting point for our accountants in the office who are actually compiling this information that is displayed now on our website under the maximum rates tab of the commission's website. And I'll show that to you if you haven't seen it already. So can everyone see our website page now? Mm-hmm. Okay, great. So you'll notice here at the end, we moved some tabs around. The first one that's highlighted, the pending transportation info tab. That tab contains pending applications for certificates, motor carrier certificates, and deadlines for protests. The next tab right here, transportation max rates, Ms. Mijares, I think this is in part what you're asking. So this page has been, was created. It indicates it includes maximum rates for household goods movers and hazardous waste for disposal carriers. And then it says South Carolina transportation rates. Download our interactive spreadsheet. So as you might notice, I just clicked the link, and then here's the spreadsheet, of course, down here that I'm asking the computer to open. All right. And Ms. Mijares, these are some of the rates that have been filed, as you can see here. What we're going to do is take the information that's included in the sheets, and the accountants also read, of course, the remaining pages, the tariffs, the information that is included on the spreadsheet, plus whatever other tariff information that is filed with the commission. And the public will be able to, let's use this first entity on line 7, to click on the docket number here to view the tariff in its entirety. So I'm opening it now. If I have not addressed your concerns about the maximum rate filing process, please let me know.
So I guess my only question is this list the only carriers who are currently utilizing the max rate? So for the, 5 or so, all my son's entities we have in South Carolina, we just went through a tariff revision. Would those be considered maximum rates, or are they going to be considered fixed?
Okay, so what has happened is one of these companies, I think there were 4 on the commission's agenda last week, where the commission in its order stated that the maximum rates were to be posted on the commission's website, and any filings that we received after the governor's signature of the bill have been posted here. We did not want to presume that carriers, just because they have rates filed with the commission pre-Governor McMaster's signature of Senate Bill 1045, that those rates were, that they intended, because we're not in their minds. So we didn't want to make that assumption.
Okay, so they would be considered fixed. We should just go with that assumption for now until we revise our tariffs.
We will, when you file, if you file them, a letter saying attached commission, or if you file it today or tomorrow, are our maximum rates. If they mirror what was filed previously, that's what we will use to upload on this site.
Okay.
We didn't want to take your company's previously filed rates and assume that that's what you intend to be your maximum rates.
Got you. Okay. Thank you.
Not a problem.
May I ask a question about that?
Yes, sure.
So, I'm not sure how many carriers we have, but we have a lot of. And if they don't affirmatively file maximum rates, then what are they operating under? Because I thought the law basically said we have maximum rates now. So are they considered not to have any rates, or are they operating under the old rules in the view of the commission that says they got to charge what's on the tariff and nothing else? Or how does this get implemented? Because I'm anticipating that, you know, they're mom and pop movers. They're not going to do this.
Right. And Mr. Terraini, I'm trying to remember if that is on the agenda. No, not yet, because we wanted to have this forum today.
Because it seems to me 1045 basically says you can charge what you want to charge subject to maximum rates. Would it be perhaps a good idea for the commission to handle this differently and consider whatever is on file maximum rates in the absence of something else?
I'm trying to figure
I
out.
understand you didn't want to presume, but
Right.
otherwise we're kind of left in limbo.
I'm trying to figure out whether in my head, I've already had a conversation with other staff, including our general counsel, about the same question that you asked. And in my head, I'm trying to figure out whether it's proper for me to say it at this point, Mr. Terraini.
Well, I'm just talking.
I know what you're talking about. I'm saying that we had thought ahead with what you are concerned about, and I'm trying to figure out whether or not I can relay that conversation to you without breaking any laws. So that's what I'm trying to figure out now.
Okay. I don't want to break any law.
Okay.
Can I interject here?
Sure.
I understand the issue you have, and I would just suggest the commission give us some direction on that. It doesn't have to be right now, okay? But as soon as possible.
Right.
But
And
we know
I think
this much, ma'am.
no, I think she's in the building, and I'm gonna ask her. Like I said, I'm trying to think through to make sure that I don't run afoul of any laws before I tell you what I'm about to say. We had thought that far. We have thought that far. Okay. But I need to. Can y'all get Joanne for me to make sure that I'm not. I'm trying to do this for him, but I'm also I do have a legally trained brain, but I don't want to misstep. So I'll come back to your question in just a second, Mr. Terraini. Sure. I have not. It is on our radar. Okay. We're going to come back to Mr. Terraini. That concern, Mr. Terraini, was there something else that you wanted to?
There is. What about the two things? We've got the bulky article charges.
Okay, so we're going back to the spreadsheet, Mr. Terraini?
Yeah.
Okay, let me display that. Let me see here.
You know, in this little workshop, would it be appropriate to call me Charlie?
Sure, I will call you Charlie. Okay, so let's go back to this, I think. Yeah, here we are. Okay, so I'm gonna close this.
So I was looking at these itemized charges, like bulky articles. We have some, like the Tariff Bureau probably has 100 items. Does that just mean refer to the tariff? That somebody would just have to refer to the tariff for things that are not listed here? Or...
Okay, so let me see. Oh, right here. So no, sir. So let's look at I don't think that's what that means. Let's look back at the spreadsheet. If I'm making somebody dizzy, I apologize with all this clicking. I don't mean to.
You're doing great.
Okay. Okay, so bulky, so we're gonna move the spreadsheet over this way, bulky article charges.
Hmm.
Okay, so see how these have been completed? So I don't think so, Charlie, that you see how we've completed charges here?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is we've got people that have charges for other things, TVs, whatever. Are you just going to add them, or
Oh,
you know, we've got? I mean, there's some tariffs that they've probably got. Think of the tariff bureaus tariffs. I mean, they may.
okay.
I can't begin to count what they've got. Are we just going to extend the spreadsheet, or are we just
We-
going to have a catch-all and say there may be other charges?
Okay, we can, and let me go back to your initial question, and then we'll go here. Because I can't get, our general counsel has another obligation, and I can't speak to her
Okay,
until
sure.
afternoon. So, no, I'm thinking through. So this was noticed for today. Anyone who wanted to participate, either you're here or you're listening, but you had the opportunity. And we posted it in the docket. So I think I can speak on
Okay.
this. I'd already told Janice, who, as you all know, is our primary employee who's responsible for publishing the agenda. And the question was to ask whether we could add an item to the transportation agenda next Thursday for the commission to address all Class E carriers and give them a time frame to tell us either file what you have on file with us, use that as our maximum rate, or this is our new maximum rate filing. So that's what I was contemplating in my mind, because I just thought through it out loud, Mr. Tarani. That's what I was thinking through when you asked what was the plan. That was staff's plan. That was the plan. Because as I said, we didn't,
Papowski raising his hand.
somebody's raising his hand.
David.
Oh, Mr. Papowski. Okay, I can't see him right now. Mr.
That's a
Papowski.
good plan.
Okay, that's
a good
what
plan.
I had to think through before I could open my mouth. So back to your question, Mr. Charlie. What do you think though if we modify this maximum rate sheet? Cody Cleckley, one of our accountants, is in the room. We modify the spreadsheet to say, please indicate if you would like additional charges to be published on this spreadsheet on the commission's website. What do you think about that, Cody? Because to handle what Charlie's saying, excuse me. The length of it, yeah. You want to come up here. They'll get to see you. Melissa, we're gonna put the spotlight on Cody, okay? This is Cody Cleckley, everybody. He's an accountant, and I'll let him speak. This right here. Oh, she said I'd pull it down for you.
Oh, but yeah, that's fine. I've not the first time I've been told short.
Go ahead, go.
Hey, yes, sir. Yeah, we have thought about what you said about there being a lot of additional charges.
There you go.
Yeah. Our original concern was just how it would make the spreadsheet so long scrolling
Yeah.
through, but we've definitely thought of that. Exactly. There's a lot of additional charges that are on the tariff sheets and stuff.
Well, I agree, and that's all I was saying was people need to fill these things out. I mean, do we just say these are the most common charges, see the tariff for everything else, or?
That was kind of our thought as we were
I think
building
that's a
it.
great idea.
Is we want to put what would be the most useful information to a customer, and then kind of caveat that with this isn't all the charges. If you want to see the full tariff, then click this link and we'll take you to the company's full.
That's a wonderful idea. And the other question I had about this was, we've got some carriers that are that charge by weight, and they have these big weight tables and so forth. How do you want to handle that? I don't think it'd be practical to put it on a spreadsheet.
If you want to think about it, that's a copy of your spreadsheet.
Yes, sir. I know exactly what you're saying, because even with the just straight time and all that, there's different ways that they're billed, even
Sure.
weekend and weekday. So we've kind of talked through it. I just don't know if there is like a one size fits all approach.
Could we just add a column and say this is a weight, see the tariff for weight-based charges?
I think that would
Because
definitely be.
I think, for instance, all of the Tariff Bureau carriers do man-hour rates for under 35 miles and do weight for over 35 miles. And I've got a couple of clients that do the same thing. So I wonder if maybe we could just add a column to that spreadsheet that they can click, because as I understand that you've been filling them out so far, but our clients are going to be filling them out going forward. Could we just add a column that says, check, do weight-based charges, and then we could put over 35 miles or something like that?
Yeah, I think that's very doable and makes perfect sense. Yeah, we'll include that up in the transportation charges section.
Okay, I think that'd be great.
Because I agree that I think that would be a useful information to a customer. Did you have any additional concerns?
That's it. I mean, I think this is wonderful.
Okay, because I'll turn it back over to Jocelyn. Thank you.
Jocelyn, this is Alex Knowles.
Oh,
would it be
hey,
possible
Alex.
to chime in here? As long as we're on the subject of the max rate form that's been proposed.
Yes.
So yeah, ORS. I guess we just had a couple of comments on the format.
Okay. We were just sorry. I was
Yeah,
gonna make sure
sorry,
we
Mr.
captured your
Cleckley.
notes.
Making sure you get your steps in for the day. But yeah, along the lines of some of what Charlie had alluded to, one thing that ORS had thought about was just the fact that carriers would have to take the additional step of kind of transferring their max rate into the form. So it would be an extra step for the carrier. We had a little bit of concern about the risk of customer confusion, and I did hear just the exchange just now about sort of disclaimer language, saying this isn't necessarily the full tariff, but we did have at least a potential concern that customers might skip over that language and not understand that the information presented in the sheet wasn't the complete information.
Well, Alice, may I ask you something?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so do you see the language that's in yellow? And I want to ask you if it's sufficient. If not, should we make the language larger? Do you see that where it says, please attach?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. I believe I do. On page 4, please attach a separate page with any rates, charges, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. I do see that. So while I do think that could help to mitigate confusion,
Okay.
I think we maybe still have a more fundamental concern too. So as we've been thinking about this, just internally, and it's clear you guys have been thinking about this in considerable detail. Our thought was that the e-tariff system might be the most helpful way to present all of the tariffs, and one of the reasons for that, perhaps the most important, is just capturing versioning, so that there's going to be a reference to each version of the tariff and when it was in effect, and it also just has the benefit of taking the customer directly to the tariff. Admittedly, the tariff may not be as convenient and digestible as the information that's been prepared and presented in the spreadsheet. Anything else?
And I think it could also be something where we just make the tariff part of it needs to be allowed with the application.
Oh yeah, and I'll just Yeah, I hit that too. And I think from ORS's perspective, if the proposed tariffs could be filed with the applications, that would be that would be extremely helpful to us in deciding whether it would be appropriate to intervene or object, and we think it could really help to streamline the process.
Okay.
So.
All right. We did talk about the e-tariff system initially. However, we did not want the public to have to jump through extra hoops to find the e-tariff system and look for carriers. Because on the e-tariff system, all the rates will not be displayed in one format. I think we could probably use that in addition to where there's the historical tariffs are maintained there, but it's much easier for anybody, any customer in the state to go straight to our website and download one sheet to compare. In the e-tariff system, you're going to have to click on each carrier. So that's why it's presented the way we did. I don't have an issue with the additional step, just like all other tariffs are posted on DMS and the e-tariff system. But for historical purposes, I agree with you, but for the public, for members of the public who are shopping basically for rates, I think our website is much, and that's what the statute says, easily accessible. And so that's why we ended up with the sheets there, so that people aren't having to figure out, and they're not having to click too many buttons. Everything, all the carriers will be listed in one place, and the docket number will be there too. I mean, not the docket, the tariff will be there. So just so you understand what our thinking was for why it's on the website. Okay? But I'm not opposed to, once we receive it internally, I think we can upload tariffs on the back end, can't we, on our own? Okay, so that's going to take an additional programmer and money, which I'm not opposed to, but this was the cost to the agency was other than man hours. That's it. We didn't have to pay a programmer to modify our e-tariff system for what we're doing now. But that wasn't the point for me. The point for me was any member of the public, most people are familiar with websites and clicking on a link that is visible. They're not searching for it. And so, Alex, that was based on our reading of the statute and the instructions to, I don't have it in front of me, make it user-friendly. So that's why that approach was taken. But I'm not opposed to it all, us, once staff receives those internally, after we modify the code, because our code for e-tariff does not include transportation, the transportation sector. Yeah. Okay, so I'm glad you asked that, so we were able to articulate our thought process as to why the process is the way it is.
Yeah. Certainly appreciate that as well.
Mm-hmm. Now, so we'll keep that in mind. My project manager, Patricia Stevens, is not present right now, but I'll ask her to add that for future projects so that we as staff can upload that and not even put the carriers through that extra step of having to worry about uploading the tariff to the e-tariff system. Staff internally, we can get that, we can address that once the system is modified.
I think that's great. I mean, to not make the carriers do it.
Right.
Because
Right. But we can handle that once the project is we have the funds for it, and staff can just upload those on the back through back office.
David
Okay.
has his hand up.
Okay. Now, did I answer? Oh, the proposed tariff filed with the application. Okay, Alex, back to that question. I thought that was part of the application.
It is.
Oh, okay.
So
And I agree, it almost has to be now.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, if we're not gonna have a hearing by default, that's almost, that really makes sense. I mean, submit the tariff along with the application. I would think maybe, well, I'll leave it at that.
All right.
David, do you have something to say?
Yeah, I do.
Hey, Mr. Popowski, I can't see your face right now, so thank you, Mr. Terani, for alerting me.
Oh, okay.
How are
I need
you?
some clarity.
Okay.
All right. let's start at step one, maximum rates.
Yes, sir.
Maximum rates means maximum. So a carrier can charge no higher than that rate, but can charge lower than those rates.
Yes, sir.
Correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you're an existing carrier with a tariff on file with a commission, okay, to convert that to a maximum rate where you can charge less than that amount, does a step need to be taken now? Let's say you want to do that Monday.
Yes, sir. So
And
if
what
the,
is
if
that step?
the step is all the carrier has to do, Mr. Popowski, is file a letter with us with if they instruct us, if they don't want to file the tariff that's currently on file with the commission, let's say it's the existing tariff.
Yeah, we want to file the existing tariff.
Yes, sir.
Want
Please.
that to be considered a maximum
Yes,
tariff.
sir. Yes, sir. Please, commission, take notice that I'm hereby declaring maximum rates in docket number, I'm sorry, rates filed in docket number 2016-85T to be my maximum rates. Staff will then take the rates, the last filed rates in that docket and upload it on the spreadsheet and on the website that I just showed you several minutes ago.
The
But-
commission will do that.
Yes, sir.
But man, what happens
So-
if they don't?
Well,
Let me have, Charlie,
Okay.
give me a minute.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so a letter, just a letter, probably be wise to attach a copy of the tariff that we consider to be the one on file with it.
yes, sir.
And as soon as we file that, when does that go? Let's say we file it Monday.
Yes, sir.
When does it go into effect?
All right, so by statute, the commission has basically one business day, not basically, that's what the law says, one business day to publish those maximum rates on its website. And then the rates by statute become effective one business day after the commission publishes the rates on its
Okay,
website.
Now, let's go to the, yeah, okay. All right, I get that. Let's go to the spreadsheet. Now, where that tariff, let's talk about the trip between that tariff to the spreadsheet. The spreadsheet could be a little bit dangerous because how that's displayed could affect who gets what business. Okay, and if there's an error in the spreadsheet, a carrier could lose a load, for instance. But typically, a customer, and maybe Angelica can help me with this too. I mean, they contact the household goods mover and they ask for their rates. We give them our rates, and our rates that we give them are the lawfully filed rates with the commission. Okay, that's the key. Our relationship with the commission and ORS is that we don't charge a customer anything that's different than our published file rate. Okay, and now we can say, and if we give them a rate that's the maximum or less, we're fine. Okay, we're legal. All right. So I warn you a little bit about the spreadsheet and any potential errors in that or on that part of it. My view is, okay, we file, let's say Monday, my clients file the letter with their existing tariff. Please consider us our maximum tariff. So going forward, okay, a month later, all right, they want to raise their maximum rates.
Mm-hmm.
All they have to do is file a new tariff, okay,
Right?
with new rates that are higher, all right, and same thing, letter, tariff, published, day goes by, no objection, boom, on the website, and those are the lawful rates. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. That's it.
All right, and let's switch to a new carrier who's they're filing an application,
Right?
okay, the forms that we've been using for years. And I mean, there's some minor changes. I don't know if you're going over that today, but there's some change. But let's say we file the typical application for authority. We attach a tariff.
Okay.
That tariff, the application is approved, and that is a shortened procedure now, a much shortened procedure. The application with that tariff is approved, and then the directive from the commission, or if it's necessary, the commission issues an order, but I'm assuming you'll be doing this primarily by directive. the minute that the commission votes, issues a directive, application that includes the proposed tariff is approved, that becomes the maximum tariff and would be uploaded by the commission on the maximum tariff section of the website. Is
Right.
that correct?
That's right, and that's already happened. Actually, Mr. Popowski, last week, there, as I said, I know there was at least one, but I think there were four that that we uploaded on Friday. The commission's meeting was on Thursday, where those new carriers received their certificates, authority to operate as Class E carriers in the state.
Oh, I got it.
And then the staff, Mr. Cleckley here in particular, was that Friday? No, I'm telling you the untruth. The commission meeting last week was Wednesday. So you did that work Thursday. Yeah. He did the work Thursday because the meeting was rescheduled last week from Thursday. Was that what? What did you say? Okay, Mr. Popowski, I'm getting my dates mixed up. Yeah, there's a lot going on here. I think whatever day the meeting was last week, the following day, that spreadsheet was populated with the information about the carriers who received their certificate authority to operate on the commission business meeting day last week. The following day, before close of business, that spreadsheet had been populated with those carriers' rates.
Well, let me make a point about that. The
Okay.
commission votes, a directive is issued, but a certificate is not issued then, obviously, because it has to, the insurance forms, et cetera, have to be filed with ORS.
Right.
So I'm assuming that a maximum tariff will not be uploaded until the certificate is issued. Is that
Okay.
correct?
So let me go to the statute right quick, Mr. Popowski. Give me a second
I'm
because
sure that has to be the case because
okay, let's look at the
you
statute.
can't upload a carrier until they get their certificate. Maybe ORS wants to chime in on that.
Okay, that's fine. And the reason that we went ahead and did that, because ORS could have, upon the commission's issuance of the certificate, and that's 10-10-10, 5823, 10-10. Okay, here we are, right here. The carrier shall file the maximum rate schedule with the commission. The commission must post the maximum rate schedule. Filing, must post the maximum rate schedule filing within 1 business day of receipt. The new maximum rate shall go into effect 1 business day following the posting of the new schedule. Now, this is not the one I want. Actually, I want the one 210 where you're talking about the certificate. Because ORS, I think from my reading of this, is ORS can immediately provide the carrier with the certificate upon the commission's issuance of the directive. If no, okay, here we go. If no objection is filed, the commission may meet to determine fit, willing, and able to perform the service. If the commission issues a directive approving the application, the ORS may then issue the certificate. The directive of the commission shall serve as the commission's order. Okay, that's irrelevant. I'm paying attention to the second sentence.
Yeah, I mean, you can take a little time after today to sort that out, but I will tell you, and I'm anxious to hear if Tim Knowles,
Yeah, Alex knows.
Alex Knowles, I'm sorry, Alex, you're the second Knowles that I've met, would like to chime in on this. I would assume that nothing could be uploaded as a rate or tariff until a certificate's issued.
You want to? Hold on.
Yeah, we'd agree that before the certificate issues, then none of the rates would be effective, Mr. Popowski.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I thought so.
So here's my question though. None of the rates are effective, but the commission has declared those as the maximum rates. So is the carrier in violation if the carrier charges rates before it complies with the terms being provided certificate? I mean, us posting that and then the carrier actually charging rates.
And
Can't do anything until
I was
they-
specifically contemplating the situation where a certificate had not yet issued, so they would be out of compliance if they were charging anything for household good moving services.
Okay.
Because he's not a carrier yet. Under 910, 5823 910, the carrier shall procure and file prior to the issuance of the certificate. Well, I guess he's not a certificated carrier, so I agree. I mean, until the CPCN is issued, it probably wouldn't be a great idea to put anything on the website because he's not authorized to do anything.
Okay.
I mean, say the commission approved it and the carrier never got insurance.
That's I see your point. I didn't see it that way last week. My reading of it and my let me say my interpretation of it, the maximum rates were to be posted, and that's what I'm wanted to make sure we weren't running afoul of.
No, I appreciate that.
1 business day of receipt, and I think the directives last week indicated that those would be, if you pull the directives from last week, that those are the carrier's maximum rates. So that's my thinking.
I think read as a whole, I mean, that law has got to mean the maximum rates for somebody who's authorized to provide the service.
Right.
But I would just like to add also that I would encourage you to consider notifying the carriers that their existing tariffs will be considered maximum rate tariffs going forward unless they file a different tariff. Because I just anticipate that with 100 or so carriers, some of them being just little mom and pops, that a bunch of them are just not going to answer. And then when I get the customer complaint, I don't know what to make of this carrier who has never told you that that's going to be his maximum rate.
I can see your point with that one. I'm still struggling. I'll come back to Mr. Popowski on that. I think is I like that idea, Charlie, about notifying the carriers, asking the commissioners to consider using that for existing carriers who haven't filed yet. And if they don't notify us, that the commission will use their existing rates as their maximum rates, and they are obligated to notify the commission if that indeed is not the case. Now back to Mr. Popowski, what I think I'm struggling with for a while, I can actually see modifying that spreadsheet so that maybe those carriers whose certificates haven't been, that we don't know whether or not they've been issued yet or not. Because ORS files those certificates with us, Alex. That's how we know that a certificate's been issued. The commission does not issue those certificates. And I'm going to try to be fair also to the company, the carriers, so that we don't have lags here. So from Charlie and Ms. Popowski's perspective, are you opposed to us moving those carriers, because it's public record, the fact that the commission has approved their certificate, those certificates, that they are moved to another section of that spreadsheet as pending receipt of certificate, but here are their rates? Because as I said, I don't want to get caught in the crosshairs of something not, that we didn't get a certificate, this, that, and the other. There is a commission order. And it's already public information. It's on the DMS. These carriers have
It doesn't bother me.
Okay. We can.
I have no objection to that.
All right. I appreciate
Also,
you bringing it
because
up.
I see the spreadsheet differently. Then I don't think it's so much a shopping tool because everybody's going to be charging, presumably, is going to be charging less than what's on there. I think it's more of a consumer protection tool where somebody feels like they've been overcharged and they can go and check and make sure they haven't been charged more than what's on the web.
Well,
I see that point.
I see y'all's perspective, but mine is a little bit different. Our minds are a little bit different in that regard. But I see it if I'm wanting to know what someone's coverage is, how are they going to handle different issues? It's like stores for me. What are you how long do I have to return this dress? After 30 days, I have to have an exchange, or will you give me my money back? So that's the way I shop. That's what I meant by shopping. But I understand what you and Mr. Popowski, what you're saying. I'm glad that you all are seriously relaying these comments, but that's where I am, everybody, about the, let's say it's over the Christmas holidays. I don't know. There could be any scenario. I'd rather the commission publish the information, maybe in a different area on the spreadsheet, but we are not delaying or causing problems bottlenecks in someone's business. That's my
I think that's
concern.
great.
And so we can, I think, accountant correctly, can we just move some down? We will differentiate. And once we receive it, but at least the public and the carrier, I think they're being treated fairly because the commission's order has been issued. And then the carrier, it's incumbent upon the carrier, even though we list them in a separate part of the spreadsheet, not to charge the rates until they receive their certificate. Okay. All right, so, Mr. Torini, I've written your note about notifying carriers, existing carriers, that their rates on file will be considered maximum rates effective, I don't know what date the commissioners might want to consider. And then if the commissioners agree, then we can proceed to populate the spreadsheet. And link to the tariff. Mr. Charlie, hold on for a second. I want to go back to Mr. Popowski. Mr. Popowski, shucks, I need to look at the statute, and I have my folder here. There is a section about and I think I tried to explain it to Alex. I explained to Alex the reason we did not include that information in our e-tariff system. But there was also a reason that we have included the spreadsheet, Mr. Popowski, also based on the wording in 58, is section 25 of Senate Bill 1045. Do you have that in front of you?
No, I don't, but I'll withdraw my objection. I think Mr. Torini raises a point that it gives the consumer an opportunity to be cross-check what they're being charged versus what's on file with the commission. So I see that point. So I'll withdraw that objection on the spreadsheet.
Glad you brought it up, though. I appreciate it because it helps me think through
Okay.
after we spoke internally about how we could best comply with the bill. And, yeah. So thank you for bringing those issues up, and we will work on modifying the spreadsheet to show certificates pending. Would you, Charlie and Mr. Popowski, are you opposed to that? I don't even know if I want to say that. I think we'll just list it as pending. Because here's the problem. Let's say ORS has filed the certificates and several hours pass before we process them. There are a lot of other tasks in the queue. So I think we'll just list them as pending, but to be fair to those carriers, the public will be able to see what the commission has processed. Does that sound fair? Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, we'll list them under the pending section. I say pending section, but I gotta have another idea. What if, no, we'll list them under pending. I think it's better to go ahead and organize it one way. I was gonna say list pending beside the carrier's name. But I think, is it your preference, Mr. Popowski and Charlie, that we just separate them?
I don't care.
You don't care? What about you, Mr. Popowski?
I think if you make it noticeable, I don't think you have to separate. If you put in noticeable, bold,
Language, okay,
bold, that this is pending,
okay.
okay?
All right, we will do that.
And at the risk of injecting
No, please.
confusion, I think
No, please.
ORS's preference, I'm advised, would be separate. So
Okay, ORS would like them to be
I have no objection
separate.
to that either.
Okay. Is that okay? All right. Thank you very much, everybody. Ms. Mijares, David, I don't think you said, Mr. Popowski, you're not representing Ms. Mijares. I may call her.
You could call, yeah, you can
Okay.
speak to her directly.
All right. Ms. Mijares,
Yes, ma'am.
what are your thoughts?
It sounds good. I guess the only thing that I'm really still wondering, I know the commission didn't want to, take the filed rates we have now as max rate. I guess my only issue is how I would go forward with my current locations in South Carolina. Do we tell them to just continue operating under the fixed schedule we do have until we do file those new rates?
Do you want to answer that, Alex? Because Alex, Mr. Knowles, Attorney Knowles with ORS is here. She's asking how they should be operating right now, and I really think that's an ORS question. Okay, they're talking, Ms. Mijares. Okay, give us a
Yes.
second.
Yeah, thank you. I think that for ORS, we would say that until the commission has said that existing rates are max rates, or until the commission says otherwise, everything proceeds as it was. So there wouldn't be, a carrier wouldn't be able to treat its existing tariff as a max rate unless the commission had advised otherwise.
Okay.
But I have a question.
Yes, sir.
But if the All My Sons locations file on Monday a letter saying, please treat the attached tariff as our maximum rates, then a day goes by and the next day they can treat them as maximum rates and not just fixed rates.
Yes, sir.
Is that accurate?
Those maximum rates are effective within 1 business day of the commission's posting those rates on the website. So you're correct. If All My Sons or anyone else files a letter with the commission and says, please process the attached rates as the maximum rates for motor carrier X, then we will post that day. If it's not 4 o'clock, 4:45, we will post within 1 business day as the statute says. And then within 1 business day after that, the rates become effective. I wish
Ms. Naharis, you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Okay,
that's all I have.
awesome. Okay, so, Alex, I left you all out. What else, what are your other thoughts? We know that you want us to have the pending section separated from the other carriers, and we will do that.
And if I could circle back on just whether there's a requirement that tariffs be filed with the applications, I just went ahead and reviewed it again, and it wasn't fully clear to me that there was a requirement that all proposed tariffs be filed with the applications.
Okay, so let's look at that. You're looking at Class E?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, awesome. So. I'm on the wrong one. The wrong notice. Here we are. Hold on. Here we are, right here. Oops, I don't want that one. I want the amended notice. There we are. So I'm scrolling down, Alex, to the Class E so everybody can see what you're referencing. Oh, that's for sale. I didn't move too fast. Right here. Okay. So now, Alex, this is page 4 of 11 of the Class E, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So please attach a separate page. So are you saying, so you're saying that this doesn't clearly say tariff, your proposed tariff? Doesn't include those words?
I think that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
We would want any and all proposed tariffs to be
Okay.
included with the filing.
It's missing some language.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Very
Right.
important point.
It's just a ministerial.
No, it's not.
But-
It's clear. It makes it clear. Because we were thinking that this language was sufficient. Your rates, charges, terms, and conditions, in our minds, staff's minds, that meant tariff. So what we can say, please attach a separate page. No. Please include a copy of your complete tariff. Complete tariff.
And one additional suggestion on the language might be to just expressly indicate that the application would be incomplete without the applicant providing their full tariff.
Okay, so we would do that for others, but we'll make it clear. We might want to put that on the first page, because anything else, if they don't provide the insurance quote, we're going to return the application.
If we're gonna do that, I have just one tiny suggestion.
Yes, sir.
And maybe it's not so tiny. Would there be any way for the commission and ORS to develop a form tariff that wouldn't be mandatory, but would be available to a carrier that wants to apply for a Class E certificate? And in other words, something, that they could just fill out. And rather than saying, you gotta file a tariff, because then that kind of gets them, well, what's my tariff supposed to look like? And it would be nice if we could just give them a safe harbor.
Okay, so what you're recommending is doesn't have anything really to do with the application form itself, but a proposed tariff for people to fill in the blanks, basically, Charlie?
I am, and I think it does have a lot to do with the application now, because if we're gonna require these folks to file a tariff with the application, which I don't think is a bad idea, then they're basically, having to, I mean, if we think about the current process, carrier files, they meet with Thomas McGill. Thomas McGill says, you're gonna need a tariff, you're gonna need a bill of lading. Carrier, he points them to the form on the commission's website, which may or may not be acceptable to the commission. And then they develop a tariff, and eventually they hire a lawyer, or most of them do. And I think what the General Assembly's intent was to make that not necessary, to make this more like the Class C applications and the other applications. And if we wanted to do a service for them, and we're expecting them to file a tariff and a bill of lading with the application, for those that don't want to do something as sophisticated as an All My Sons, I think it'd be great if we could just give them a fill-in-the-blank tariff and a fill-in-the-blank bill of lading, and they know they can use this, and it's good. They don't have to, but they're good to go.
Yeah, hey Charlie, this is Alex. On ORS's website, under the transportation section under Class E, there is a sample tariff and sample bill of lading. So one option might be, to include in the application to say that the applicant can contact ORS for a form, or to include a link to the ORS website that has these forms.
I think that's great. What I'd like is some consensus that those forms are okay with everybody.
So
I don't know how tariffs are gonna work going forward, but I would hate for somebody to use those forms and then find out, well, we think it should say 30 days to make a claim instead of 15. And these things have not been fixed for the past couple of years. They seem to change periodically. And I think it'd be great if everybody could just agree that you can use this form and you're good. And that form should be on the RS's website, should be on the Commission's website.
okay. So, Alice, did you say you all already have a proposed tariff?
Yes, ma'am. We have a sample tariff that's based on tariffs that historically have been approved by the Commission. But I do understand, Charlie, what you're saying.
Let me make a point. To give it, final legal approval, you get into claim filing, like you just mentioned, Mr. Torrini just mentioned 30 days. Some carriers may want a longer period of time for filing a claim. There's a lot of litigation whether your claim was filed on time or not. So what the Commission would be doing if it adopted Mr. Torrini's suggestion, it would be by law, statute. I don't know if the statute allows for that, and I don't know if it allows the Commission to issue regulations. on the time period for filing a claim.
Well,
Now,
the
that's,
commission's been doing that anyway.
yeah, but you could get into a
Go
civil
to a
case
hearing
in a
and they
courtroom.
basically say, we're not gonna approve you unless it's 14 days. And the carrier says, okay, it's gonna be 14 days. I don't, we probably do need a regulation on it. I'm just saying, even before this law, I wanted something that I would know that we can use this and we're good. Because
Well, I
right
think
now,
we need
there's
to
no
talk to the
consensus.
legislature about that.
Well, I think the commission could promulgate regulations.
If it has, or the commission could issue a regulation with a firm claim filing date if it's has the authority via statute to do that.
If it does, it does, but
I just want, that's a legal issue that I'm warning everybody about.
I think it's fair.
Because that issue will be fought out in a courtroom, not before the commission on a claim. A loss and damage claim.
That's very fair.
I say that for purposes of this forum.
So Alex, where do you stand with the sample tariff? Is it ORS's preference that just be posted on your website?
Yeah, that's fine with us. I mean, I do think it is it's a helpful template, and I suppose I'd leave it at that. And I will say that I believe it's ORS's practice to provide applicants with that sample.
The sample is a PDF, Alex. Do you think maybe we could turn it into a PDF form so that the fields can just be inputted?
I think we could look into something like that, Charlie, or a Word document if we aren't able to do that in PDF. But I'm sure that's something we could look into.
If I could add 1 point or 2 points. One, I agree with that. Making a PDF form, that's great. And secondly, but please understand that once that tariff is officially filed with a claim filing date in it, okay, that is the legal claim filing date. Okay, I want that to be clear that there's not something out there floating around. Once a tariff is officially filed with the commission, an approved, quote, approved tariff that contains a claim filing date, that is the claim filing date. I think we're all would everybody agree with that?
Yeah.
I agree with you. Unless there's some other date like in a commission order or something, but will no longer be the case with
Okay.
with 1045.
Okay.
Okay. So we're gonna start with you again, Alex. So where I've ended with that particular issue, Alex, with the sample tariff is that ORS will provide us, the commission staff, with a link to the sample tariff, and we can figure out where we want to post that information on the 2 tabs you've just seen on our website.
Well, yes, ma'am. We'll include the sample bill of lading as well.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Thank you. Okay, so Ms. Mijares, I'm working backwards, but I want to make sure that you don't have any other questions right now.
My only other question, so currently we do file our proposed electronic bill of lading with our tariff. So with our current max rate, I believe I'll have to change that wording a little bit in that electronic version. Would we submit that continuously as we do now with our tariff revisions?
If you modify that bill of lading,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, I would continue to file that. The commission's regulations regarding the bill of lading, my last reading of that within the last 2 weeks, I think those still have to be approved. So if you're
Okay,
gonna
I think the only difference would be right now, what we're charging. We charge our travel at a certain mileage, and our offices may want to change that since we're going to a max rate. I'm not sure yet, but just in the event that we do have to change some of that wording on that electronic BOL, I want to make sure we can still submit that with the tariff for approval.
Yes, ma'am. You'll submit the tariff if it's Class E when you file your maximum rates, we're going to use the language in the statute. I'm using my laptop, which says that your maximum rate schedule filing, the agency, PSC has to post that filing within 1 business day. And then your schedule, your modified maximum rate schedule, when you file it, goes into effect 1 business day following the commission's posting of the new schedule. Okay? But the
Yes,
bill of lading too, as you mentioned, if you modify that, please file it with the commission.
okay.
All right, great. Okay, so now I'm gonna work even. Ms. Popowski, anything else right now?
No, ma'am.
Not right now. Charlie, what about you? Not right now. Alex, what about you right now?
Not on this topic. Thank you, Jocelyn.
No problem. Okay, so let's see. We were talking about the maximum rate schedule. Okay. We handled the issue of the sample tariff, everybody, but we did not. I don't think I received all the feedback regarding using page 4 of 11 of the Class E application. Oh, yes, we did. So basically, the page 4 of 11 of the Class E application, Class E certificate application, will be modified to state in the instructions, please include a copy of your complete tariff, including maximum rates. The directions, that's where we were. Melissa, I'm going to minimize this for a second, and we're going to go back to, this is where we were. So we were talking about modifying the instructions, Alex, based on your concern that carriers know that their applications will not be processed unless they are complete. So I think we should include that language, Afton, in the instructions. Your application will not be accepted for processing if it is not incomplete. And what about this, Alex, including a copy of your proposed tariff, your company's proposed tariff?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so we're going to modify the directions to include that language. Okay, Alex, anything else right now?
I suppose as long as we're on the instructions for the Class E, on step 4, under attorney information,
Okay,
ORS was just looking for a little clarification on whether this step represents a change in commission practice. So my understanding is that historically applicants for a new Class E certificate have been able to file an application without an attorney, but for representation going forward and for any hearing they need one. Is this step meant to change that practice?
no, sir, is that, I don't think we modified that language there, okay. Okay, so this is what we're using. And I think looking at that one sentence, Alex, that we can do better there. So our regulation on representation right now includes language that if the application is unopposed, let me go, because I'll find it right. I don't want to misstate.
I kind of like it like that.
Okay, so here we are. Okay, here we are. Unopposed matters in which you can proceed without counsel. Now, we can either take this section, which I think might be difficult for some people in its entirety, but this is our regulation on representation before the commission. And basically, if you're an individual, of course, you do not have to retain counsel. But if you're someone other than an individual, corporation, partnership, LLC, PA, you must be represented by a South Carolina attorney. These are the circumstances under which you don't have to have a lawyer, okay? May proceed without counsel, approval of a tariff, approval of a contract, approval of an interconnection agreement, name change, certificate of PC, which, when we modify, of course, PCNN will be removed from our regulations to operate as a Class C motor carrier, application of a mover of household goods for a certificate of FWA, which ours is not a certificate of FWA, it's just a certificate, the situation we're talking about now. So I think what you're saying is it's, the way it's currently written, maybe it's not a true representation.
I think if you just added, if there's an objection to the application or something like that, if there isn't, because you're following that sequence where it says if an objection to the application is filed, the process is outlined at the end of this document. If you just say, if you just put in front of this, if there is an objection, comma, applicant must be represented.
Okay,
That would probably do it.
That sounds good to us as well.
okay, I'm gonna find that, thank you. Thank you, everybody, thank you, thank you. If there is an objection. Okay, Alex, I'm gonna find my sheet again. I wanted to, may we continue with your concerns?
And I don't have anything else on the instructions for Class E applications, but I don't know if others may.
You mean your colleagues?
I meant, I suppose, other participants in the forum. Although, if you'd like for me to just proceed with ORS's other comments on the Class E applications in general.
Okay, we'll finish with Class E and then I'll come back. So let me go back so everybody can, okay. I think, Ms. Maharis, right now, you don't have any other questions regarding Class E issues?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Charlie, what about you?
On the application, I've got a few.
You do?
No,
Okay.
yeah,
All
I've got a
right.
few just points and questions.
Okay, so Melissa, I'm gonna minimize the NDI again, okay? So we can look at the applications as Charlie is talking. Okay, yes, sir?
On page 1, it says applicant must provide a state criminal background check from the state where applicant currently lives. What if the applicant's a corporate entity?
Okay, Charlie, is that under, tell me which step that's under?
Page 1?
Page 1 of the application. Okay, I'll follow now. I apologize. Okay, number 3.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. You said what if the applicant is,
It's a corporate entity,
oh,
which most of them are.
should, you know what? What's that? No, I think he's talking about number 3. Yeah, he's talking about number 4.
I'm talking about
He-
number 3.
Yeah. I mean, he's talking about number 3, but the applicant is a corporation. So that needs to be clarified.
Yeah, would it be an officer of the company at
Yeah.
that point?
Yeah, and if that's the commission's intent, Ms. Maharis, you're correct, it needs to state that.
But I mean, I think if that's what the commission wants, we need some definition around that, because if it's officer, well, you know, is it every officer? Is it every shareholder, member? And then the other question I've got is, which has never really been answered in the past couple of years, is what are we doing with this?
Yeah, I know. I'm not a commissioner.
What if he's got a criminal record? You know, so far it's 4-3. It doesn't matter.
I definitely, when these are addressed, they're gonna have to answer that, Charlie.
And I
Yeah.
mean, I think that's really a question for ORS at this point. I mean, because if no one objects, the commission really can't object sua sponte. So really the issue would be, why do we need it? Or what are we doing with it? Not why do we need it? I'm not taking a side on that. But what are we doing with it? If ORS says, well, you know, he can be a bank robber, it's okay with us, then I'm not sure it's needed, but if ORS says, well, this is
That's-
gonna cross the line, I'd like to know what that line is.
Yeah, everybody too. I want everybody. I mean, interrupt. That's my fault. When I don't instruct Melissa that I'm about to switch screens, so I'm gonna do better by not. So y'all don't have to see that fade away. So anyway, so Alex, you were gonna respond to Charlie.
Yes, yes. Thanks, Jocelyn. And yeah, ORS had essentially the same questions that Charlie has just posed. So yeah, I'm sorry. Earlier when I indicated that ORS didn't have anything further on Class Cs, I meant specifically with the instructions. We do share the same questions that Charlie has posed on the first page of the
Okay.
application on background checks.
Why is that here? Why do you need this information?
Yeah, it wasn't clear to us what regulatory requirements it was intended to address, and just kind of from a sort of administrative perspective, we would anticipate applicants having lots of questions for us about this requirement, which we wouldn't really know how to answer, such as you know, is there a particular form that this background check needs to take, and most importantly, as Charlie alluded to, what kind of information in particular could be detrimental to my application.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
It's- It kind of a little bit of, and the agency should be able to justify that. Like, for example, when we ask, if we were ever to ask for someone's social security number or anything like that, and the laws within the last decade, maybe a little before that, consumer protection. You can't just ask for information unless there's reason for it. So, I've written that question. The purpose of number 3. I can't respond to that at this point. And I see Mr. Popowski's raising his hand.
Just a little historical perspective, maybe too, Madam Clerk, is I think in a case, a commissioner, that some issue came up and a commissioner asked an applicant to file a background check or something like that as a post-hearing exhibit. It came up in a case. Alex, I don't know if you can add to that. I'm with everybody else about that. I think it's a can of worms.
Yeah, and David, all that I can add there is the recollection, at least in the case that I have in mind, was that ORS determined the applicant was fit, willing, and able because ORS did not see a connection between the plain language of the regulation just defining fit, willing, and able and the criminal background information.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. So, Charlie, if you will proceed.
Page, what is that? 2.
Okay. Charlie, hold on for 1 minute, please. Ms. Purvis, I'm trying to do better. I'm about to switch. Okay, so then Charlie, you said page 4?
2.
Page 2. Okay, here we are. There you are.
This is a minor thing, but I would suggest adding a box under individual partnership or corporation for limited liability company.
Okay.
ORS would support that as well, Jocelyn.
Thank you.
I agree.
Thank you, Mr. Popowski.
Page 5. Just throwing it out there. Is
All right.
there any reason to have 3 county authority anymore?
Oh, that's a good point. Okay, so let's talk through this. So, let's say someone objects. Oh, I think you're going to the PCNN portion, aren't you?
Exactly. I mean,
Okay.
it's no longer a criteria.
Okay.
So
Okay.
if somebody objects on the basis of necessity, that's not a valid objection. So why shouldn't everybody be statewide?
So
I agree.
okay, so what you're saying is the section that reads requested scope of authority, we don't need that section at all. Just should there be any indication that they want statewide authority? And ORS on your certificate, don't you list where people are?
Yes.
I think everything should be statewide, and I honestly think there's going to have to be a process for some sort of streamlined manner of addressing the movers out there with three county authority, and converting them to statewide authority, because there's not much basis for that restriction anymore. And I mean, the last guy one of the last guys I handled, we went ahead with the three county authority just because he didn't want to delay his application by republishing the notice. It was just a matter of, he didn't realize how easy it was to get the statewide compared to the three county. So he's out there with three county authority, and honestly, I don't know why he shouldn't be statewide now that his law's passed.
You want to respond, Alex?
Well, I think that the only thing that I have to say, I'm not sure ORS has a position on this specifically at this time. Just one consideration is that for those applicants, like Charlie has just referenced, who only have three county authority right now, they would, in order to compete with companies who are automatically getting statewide authority, would have to amend their certificates. So there's a potential burden there for those companies. But I think that's probably all that we have to say.
And if we could just streamline the process for that, or if the commission could just issue a blanket order amending everybody's certificates, whatever it is to make it easy and not costly for these folks, I think that would be a wonderful thing.
Charlie, may I ask a question? It's really none of my business, but I'm just being nosy. Does ORS use that in your enforcement efforts to figure out who's where? I'm just being nosy.
Yeah, ORS would look to ensure that an applicant who had limited authority to operate was operating within the scope of the authority that they had.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just saying, generally, these are the folks that can afford it the least to go through the amendment process. So if anything we can do to help them, because I'm thinking about guys like James Powell, who's like 19 years old, moving stuff in Aiken.
Mm-hmm.
This last fellow, he's a realtor, he's a mover. I would hate for them to have to, hire somebody to help them amend their certificates.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you all this. I'm trying to think of a efficient way to handle this. First of all, Charlie, my immediate response was, well, should we move the statewide box to the beginning?
Yeah, I think we ought to remove all of that.
Well, yeah, I was just strategically going to move the word statewide above Abbeville, and then they could select if they don't select statewide, just initially for new applicants, okay, or someone who wants to amend the certificate.
But if you just remove statewide, I think people are going to get confused and they're going to say, well, I live in Richland or something like that.
I wasn't removing it, Charlie. I was moving it to the top of the list. I was proposing to move it to before Abbeville, and then maybe some separation, and then have, put the other counties below, so that,
That would be great, but I guess my question is why we need a list.
Yeah, I know. Now, Charlie,
the only distinguishing feature was you don't need a shipper witness to get the three county.
Okay, so if the commission, let's say this, Charlie. I guess there wouldn't be any other implications business-wise, because I don't own a motor carrier business based on insurance and all that other stuff. If the commission automatically says everybody who doesn't have statewide authority is now granted statewide authority, you have to tell me because you represent motor carriers. Would they have any other business responsibilities to file with other entities or modify their insurance or anything like that if the commission?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So maybe the answer would be to give them an opt-in. Please let us know if you want to convert your certificate and make it just very easy for them. To
notify the commission. So your suggestion on number 10 now is to ask the commission to ask existing carriers to notify us within whatever time frame if you would like to amend your certificate, because y'all are going to then have to turn around and amend their certificates, ORS, to state that that you do or don't want statewide authority. Am I summarizing what you're asking, Charlie? for existing
Yeah.
carriers.
Although I don't even know that I'd put a time limit on it. Just
Okay.
let us know.
All right, I've written that note, Charlie, and I've also written the note, if we can, have to move statewide above Abbeville and just move everything else down, maybe 2 returns, and then,
Yeah.
okay, so let us know if you want to provide
Thank you.
statewide authority. This is page 5. Okay, Charlie, you may proceed.
Page 10, the personal information form. Y'all don't really want that filed with the commission anyway. So
Oh,
perhaps ORS could just collect
Yeah.
that information as part of the process.
the reason we do that is because we had to provide justification for that, and it's really for ORS. I think you all use that information, the FEIN.
Okay, yeah, we use it for gross receipts.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Charlie was recommending that we remove it from, if we remove that, we won't even need that page.
Right.
Or else
You're kicking them out as it is, right? When people file them, you're rejecting that page anyway.
Yeah, so Jocelyn, I think ORS definitely needs to receive that information. I don't know that that means that we're opposed to deleting that page, but we would want to make sure that there was some kind of mechanism to ensure that that information did come to ORS.
Mm-hmm. Maybe a condition on you all giving them their certificate? You know, maybe, I don't know how you would,
That's usually what happens is I get an email saying I need this carrier's EIN number right now after the approvals. If I've done the application, I'm not filing that sheet of paper because I know y'all don't want it.
Jocelyn, I might ask if we could just take this one back and follow up.
great. Okay, they're gonna think about that one, Charlie.
Okay. All right. My other comment has to do with we've still got 2 notaries.
Where, on the last page?
Yeah, one on receiving the commission orders. We've got 2 notarized signatures. We've got page 9, you agree to receive the commission orders. And
Oh.
Page 11, you've got the safety certification. I guess as a threshold, I would just ask, are the notaries necessary at all? Secondly, if they are necessary, I would suggest removing the notary block from the safety certification and just moving that page up behind page 9, because in page 9, your last thing,
Okay,
the last sentence says, I swear and affirm that all statements contained in the application are true and correct. So that just simplifies it. You've only got to get the notary once. Although I'm kind of wondering, do we really need a notary? But if you feel like you do, I would just do it once.
okay, so yeah, I heard
Can I
you.
speak to that?
Yes, sir.
I think you should delete the notary on both. Because if they file misinformation with a government agency, it's perjury. There are consequences for that. And, a lot of these, I know where Mr. Freeney's going. Notaries sometimes are hard to find these days, are not as easily accessible. People used to go to a bank and get it done in banking. locations that, with online banking, have become a little bit contracted some. So if RS doesn't have an objection to it, I would be in favor of eliminating the notarization of both pages.
I don't think that we have a position on this issue right now. I guess before taking one, I just want to make sure that there wasn't some purpose for the notarization that I'm overlooking.
Yeah, I want to say, if my memory is correct, that some of this, or the notary issue, arose from some proceedings years ago. I think that's in part. And then the other is we modified the application years ago so that, because the commission was conducting hearings, so that the application, am I right? I think at some point the application was the company's testimony. For the hearing.
It says that
Okay,
on page, whatever, 9.
okay,
That's what it says,
okay,
I think. Yeah, the applicant understands this completed application serves as pre-filed testimony.
okay. So,
Since we're not having a hearing anymore, but I don't know if if there's an objection,
Right.
the application still could, I don't know, if you feel like you need one, that's fine. I don't know, say let's just have one.
okay, so just one if need be, if needed. And also you said, move the safety certification after page, I know, Charlie, you said
Before
page.
page 9.
Okay, just replace, just,
Move it before page 9 and take off the notary block, because at that point, that's just a statement that's part of the application and will have been verified by the notary block on the other page.
okay. Okay. All
And
right.
then my last comment, it deals with the safety certification, and this is really just for my information.
Okay,
I've never had anybody that was not exempt. What are we doing with this? I mean, I understand they're swearing they're gonna obey the laws of the state, I mean, but they kind of have to do that anyway.
okay, I have to look at this again.
And so maybe, Thomas or somebody could educate, is it, I mean, it's harmless, I suppose, but is it necessary?
Is this in our regs at all? I have to look back, I'm having to read it, Charlie, because I'm not a
Okay,
safety driver. I'm wondering if any of this tracks our regulation.
I don't know, I haven't looked, honestly. It's just one of those things, inevitably somebody checks the wrong box and we gotta fix it. I've always been curious, man.
Okay, I do see some language down here where I think ORS would be involved. Anybody who certifies they're in compliance, and upon completion of the compliance review audit, that's what you all do, right, Alex? The compliance review audit?
Yes.
Okay. May have its certificate revoked.
Cause see, it says detach and complete and remit after your safety audit has been
Oh, at the
performed by
top.
State Transport Police.
Oh,
We definitely don't do that. Everybody's been filling these out with the application. But I guess that's because I'm just saying, I don't understand this form. I never really have, except that I understood it to say my clients were agreeing to observe the Federal Motor Carrier Safety, General Operations Safety and Fitness Guidelines.
okay, I know Alex is conferring right now for when he finishes.
Yeah. So yeah, what I'm hearing was that the intent of this portion of the application was for like large interstate companies who would have this kind of certification, but those aren't going to be the kinds of companies that typically ORS or the commission has jurisdiction over.
David Papowski.
Hey, Mr. Popowski.
Oh,
You
hey.
might want to mute yourself.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm here.
He was answering. the phone.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
I thought I was quiet. I think he's right. I agree with Thomas about that. I think it comes down to, do you have trucks that are more than 26,000 pounds or less. So if you have more than 26,000 pounds, you agree to comply with the safety regulations, and you check the first box and you say, yes, I will comply, and I understand if I don't comply, I could get my license revoked. And then if you have 26,000 or less, which is the typical household goods, 16 cubic feet or whatever, you say, well, I don't have to necessarily comply with these regulations, but I'm familiar with them, okay? And I intend to observe them. Isn't that right, Tom? Alex, ORS?
Yeah.
So,
Sorry, go ahead, David.
yeah, so the typical household goods carrier who has vehicles that are not more than 26,000 pounds will check the second box. If you're like Charlie says, you're a big interstate carrier and will have tractor trailers, you check the top box. Isn't that how it works?
Yeah, I think that's how it works. I'm just,
I think what you're saying, Charlie, is what does the commission
I
need
don't
it
see the
for?
harm in that form.
but what's
Yeah,
the
and Charlie, I'll just chime in. This is Alex. Just it does track the reg on fit, willing, and able, so the applicant can demonstrate fitness by showing its USDOT safety rating.
Okay, well then that's what we need.
It's the regulation. Okay, I will scratch that one on my notes. Okay. Charlie, I'm back to you. What's next?
Well then, that's really it, except that I think this form could be a little clearer. Because right now it says detach and complete after you've been,
Yeah.
it's been recorded by the state transport police.
Yeah.
That's not happening.
Right. I don't know that first sentence, I mean, the detach, complete, and remit after your safety audit. Oh, well, it says they still have to file it. It's just after the safety audit of state transport police. So
Right, but if we're following it with the application, they're not doing that. And that's what we've been doing for 10 years now. And I think it's because does the state transport police audit anybody anymore?
I think
I
so.
thought
Not unless there's a complaint.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay, so what do y'all think, ORS? If we leave it, just remove the detach, complete, and remit after?
This is on page 8. Where is that listed? I don't.
Okay, so right here, if you look on the screen up,
page,
this is page 11 of 11, Class E. See that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we don't have any problem with deleting that sentence at the top.
Okay.
and then and I don't have any suggestions for it, but if there was some way to make that exemption clearer, the language about because I mean, that's what 90% of people are gonna do, right? Is they're supposed to check yes under exempt applicants. And just in my experience, probably 30% of the people filling these things out on their own get it wrong.
Okay, so Charlie, let me make sure I'm following you. You said delete the second please check or the first one?
No, I'm not saying delete either one of them.
Okay.
I think they're both necessary under the regs.
Okay.
What I'm saying is accurate. What I'm saying is 90% of the people we're dealing with are going to be exempt. And somehow, in my experience, at least a third of the folks that complete their applications check the wrong box on this form. So there's some way, if there was some way we could make this clearer, I think it would be very helpful just for administrative purposes.
Okay, so the way I'm reading this is if you are exempt, then you check that you are familiar, that you know that you must certify that you will observe FMCSR. Right. So I don't know if
I've got no problem with the form. I've got no problem with the idea of the form. What I'm saying is we all understand it here, right? Well, I didn't until y'all explained it to me, but we all basically understand now what we want to do with this form. But just in my experience dealing with motor carrier applicants, a whole lot of them get this wrong. and they check the yes on top of the DOT rating, and then we end up, having to switch out the pages. I'm just saying administratively, if there's some way to make this thing a little more clear, I think it would minimize on errors and it would help people understand what the heck they're actually swearing to. Because right now, I promise you, I don't think they understand.
Okay, so maybe something, what you're saying is make the exempt section clearer. And,
Yes,
and,
ma'am.
and in my mind right now, that could be, for example, when I'm taking a survey and it says, if you've never lived in California for 10 years, do not complete this form. But that's up front. That's the first question,
Yeah.
instead of making me expend all this energy reading and digesting something that doesn't pertain to me. So perhaps
Right.
on this page, we could consider moving this exempt language to the top. Do you do this with your answer? Do you own a vehicle that's 20, or will your vehicles, what's that, gross vehicle weight, R, I don't know what the R is, I apologize. Is it 26,000 web hours or less? They say no. I mean, yes, then you do not need, if they check no, please proceed to the next page. You do not need to complete this form. Does that work?
Yeah, something like that.
All right.
This is, if the consumer advocate had come down here, he
Mm-hmm.
probably some helpful suggestions.
Yeah,
But
I had to bother Roger and ask him.
I guess he's not slumming. Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Okay.
It's just, I don't think this form, I don't think people understand what they're signing, honestly.
What do you think about that, Alex? Moving that, some question like that at the top, you
Yeah,
know?
we think that's a very helpful suggestion.
Okay.
And believe it or not, that's all I've got.
Okay. Okay, all right, great. Where are we going with this? All right, so Charlie's finished. Ms. Popowski, do you have anything else on Class E's?
Yeah, and I don't want to start a long conversation, just as almost food for thought. On the financial information on it.
Okay, what page? Let's see, that's on page 3.
Yeah. Assuming that page. I'm wondering, I've found that to be intrusive, both for big and small carriers to an extent, put how much cash you have on hand and dot, dot. And is that really necessary to make a fit, willing, and able determination in this new world that we'll be living in? If they have equipment, I understand you want to see the equipment. I understand you want to see insurance. And you want the basic information of the client, of the applicant, where they are, where they're located, who their principal people are. But to get into a balance sheet for them, and I've had every client I've ever had has done it, but it has struck me as to be a little bit intrusive and not necessary. Is there any disagreement, or I'd like to hear comments about that if possible.
Okay, and while y'all are doing that, let's look at the regulation too, but go ahead.
Yeah, if it's allowed, I understand if you're bound by law, by statute to do that.
Right.
But we're revisiting regulations. So
Yeah, we are, and that's right. We will be doing that, Charlie, that's correct. But I was just looking at the current ones, you understand what I mean? Okay, so that's not 190, 103, I think is what it is. No, 133.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So
Okay.
if you could consider that.
All right, so let's just see. Yes, sir. Because I don't want to misspeak. I was thinking about the certification for like telephone
You
companies.
don't have to worry about it now, but just
Think about it. Okay,
make
okay.
a note of it and
All right.
think about it.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. It's really intrusive. And I've never heard of anybody being rejected for either being too rich or too poor.
I'm just writing, Okay. Mr. Popowski, what else do you have?
That's all I have, man.
Okay. So I've addressed Charlie, I've addressed Mr. Rapowski, Miss Mijares, Think you're still okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Alex, anything on Class E?
Okay, the last one I have that's Class E specific is just on the process if an objection to the application is filed document
All right.
towards the end.
Okay.
On step one, regarding the notice of filing, we were just thinking that might need a little additional update in light of S1045 and its changes to the notice.
Oh, yeah, the newspaper issue.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let me find that. That's on, so in the packet on the DMS, oh, that's not a page number. Okay. Very true. No newspaper publication. Okay.
Yeah, the Post and Courier's third quarter earnings are gonna dip.
Not them, it's the state is expensive one.
Oh my God, the state is poaching everybody,
Yeah, McClatchy, I think, or the,
like snatching.
Okay. Okay, we have that. No newspaper. Yes, sir, Alex.
And that's all that I've got on the Class E specifically. I guess I have a couple of others that might affect the Class E, but I was just going to hit them as a general matter.
Okay. So you want me to come back to you? Miss Schmeeding, come on up here. Come on. Miss Schmeeding and Janice, as you all know her, she has a recommendation. She said page 5. Okay, so she said page 5, State Transport Police. I think she's still on the Class E. Right here, Janice? Okay, so the instructions for Class E. I apologize for scrolling, everyone. I think this is it, Janice? Okay. Yes, ma'am. Step 5. Okay. Okay, step 5, number 2. Okay, so. Yeah, because Thomas said that State Transport Police does not get involved unless a complaint is filed. So, yes, it does. Remember the reference to State Transport Police.
Yeah, that's in the wrong place.
Yeah, we just need to delete it. Delete the reference. Applicant has 90 days from the date of the order. Well, this is after the fact. To file proof of liability, that's true. Rates and obtain a satisfactory safety rating. That's still true. We just need to, we have to delete the reference. Or we can add bill of lading to number 2 and then subtract, delete the reference to State Transport Police.
Won't the rates and bill of lading already have been filed if you're gonna make them file
Well,
the
that's
application?
true. Yeah, the bill of lading will, that's true, Charlie. So we will remove the reference, strike what I just said about the bill of lading, but we need to delete the reference to State Transport Police. That's step 5.
And rates, right?
That's right, remove rates. That's right, because the rates would be filed with the application.
Right.
Yes, there is. Okay, so for step 5, number 2, delete the reference to State Transport Police and rates. Okay. Alex, did I finish with you for right? You mentioned you were talking generally.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. So yeah, just and yeah, I'll hit those real quick if that suits.
Okay, yeah,
Thank
that's
you. So just in general, wherever the ORS website is referenced, sometimes it's the old
Oh, is it?
URL.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. And because that does not automatically link to the current website, just dead ends. Yeah, we just wanted to make sure that it was updated to ors.sc.gov. Second, wherever the ORS fax number is listed, that line is no longer in service actually, and so we wanted to replace it with the email address for the ORS Transportation Department, which is simply transportation@ors.sc.gov, and the fax number is listed under. I think the instructions for submitting applications and along with submitting Form Es for insurance. Charlie had hit on the adding an LLC category. We would agree with that for all all classes of applications. In the applications, under the page description of equipment, there's a category for empty weight.
Is that in the Class C or in all of them?
That is in all of them, as if I'm if I counted correctly.
Or right here?
Yes, ma'am, that's the one.
Okay.
But yeah, that information isn't needed because we don't use it anymore. It had been used for purposes of assessing decal fees. Yes, ma'am, and that's it's no longer used for that. So it's just additional information.
Tell me specifically what you said you don't want, or that entire page needs to go away?
No, ma'am, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Just the column empty weight.
Oh, okay.
And that column is found in the other applications as well. And that is all of the generally applicable items that I had to hit.
Melissa, I'm about to switch. Joe, are you okay? Okay, excuse me one second. I need to speak to our court reporter. We're back. Okay. So we just finished ORS. I think, did you say you have other recommendations on the Class Cs?
Yeah, I've probably got maybe 5 minutes
Okay.
on Class A restricted, and all the Class Cs.
Okay. So, will everybody have would you allow us please to take a 7-minute break? Is that okay? Please?
Let me tell Ms. Maharis that this does not, we're now dealing with passenger vehicles,
Yes, sir.
correct?
Yes, sir. And I can do, Mr. Popowski, I can do that, or if you'd like for me to quickly summarize my notes on the Class E, and then she wants to leave, she may. It's up to her.
I'll let her speak.
That's fine, yeah.
You want to? Would you like to hear my summary?
Are you going to be issuing? Do you need her to go over a summary of her notes now, or do you think you've got everything?
I think I've got everything. I don't think we're going to in the near future, but just in the event that, tomorrow we wanted to open an additional location, would we fall under the old application and the instruction for that old application until this is finalized?
So I think what you're asking is, these new forms haven't been approved yet, Ms. Maharis?
Right.
And so, yes, ma'am, you would continue to use the old forms until the commissioners approve the new ones, please.
Okay, that's all I got.
Yes, ma'am.
Let me ask a follow-up. When do you anticipate the new forms will be? Is that, you think, a month?
No, sir.
Or
I would
that's-
hope no later than June 23rd. We do not anticipate the commissioners meeting on the 16th. They will meet on the 9th, and then the next meeting will be the 23rd. And I would think that we
Okay.
can have staff would be prepared no later than the 23rd to ask them to consider the revisions.
Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
you're welcome.
And Ms. Board, if it's okay, I'm just gonna sign off.
Okay,
Uh,
I
and-
appreciate Charlie, and I really do appreciate your comments today.
Well, thank you for indulging me.
Yeah, this is, and especially for you and Charlie and Mr. Popowski about the maximum rates that we posted and your feedback on that, yours and ORS, so that we can make some modifications. So I do appreciate your feedback, really.
Thank you for having this.
So everybody, so would you please come back? Let's just say 12:10 if you're going to return.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us again as we continue with our forum today regarding draft motor carrier applications. And so, Alex, I need to ask you a question, please, sir.
Yes,
We
ma'am.
were talking, staff was talking during the break. And I don't want to belabor this, but if we make a column that is distinctly says certificate status, and for those carriers who have received their certificates granted, will be one option in green, and then those who haven't, pending, but we would have to outline the word pending, it'd be yellow, but then outlined in black. Would you all consider that? And here's our question. Here's our reason for asking is due to the potential lag in the commission receiving information that the certificate has been issued, and also, that's first and foremost. And people not scrolling to the bottom of the page. So that's what we wanted to ask ORS.
Do you mind if we take just a moment? And
No,
confer?
please.
Thank you. And Jocelyn, you are talking about the maximum rates spreadsheet that we were discussing earlier.
Yes, sir, only for Class E carriers.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I guess so. ORS's preference probably still would be to have it separated, but we hear what you're saying, and that would be fine from our perspective. I think in terms of organization, would the company names just be listed alphabetically, or I guess it might be sortable since it's a
Yes, sir.
PDF. Excel sheet.
Do you mind if I display the sheet for
Sure.
everybody's
Yeah.
edification? Okay, I'm moving to display the spreadsheet. So, right, I guess the preference would be right before the docket number, we would include a column that states certificate status. And then you asked me whether this is sortable, I think, Alex, and I think,
Yes, ma'am.
let's see what this drop down, I don't think it is. Is it sortable, Cody? I see the, oh, wait a minute, I have to enable editing, I apologize. Okay. Yeah, you can sort A to Z, it's an Excel spreadsheet. Does that help?
Here you go, Tom. I'm going to turn over the mic to Tom Allen.
Thanks,
Sure.
Alex.
Hey, Tom.
I think our concern would be that it should probably be alphabetized when popped up by the consumer, and I don't know if that's your plans or not. I could easily see a consumer making the assumption that because someone was first on the list, that they may have been certificated the longest and therefore the most reputable, etc. I would not want the order to provide someone an unfair advantage, if that makes sense.
Okay, so on the maximum spread,
Okay, and if it pops up alphabetized, I think we're good with that.
okay, so the maximum, and make sure the list is alphabetized, and your, right, where your preference might be to separate the carriers, you won't be upset if we add a column that says certificate status.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Staff, are y'all, colleagues, are y'all okay with that? Okay. And the status would be granted or pending, with granted in green.
Copy that.
Okay, thank you very much, Alex.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, and I guess just for clarity, I'm not sure ORS's position in terms of the preference of the spreadsheet has necessarily changed, but we do understand all the reasons that you guys have outlined, and yeah. So, anyways, thank you for the time and context and back and forth on it.
No problem. Okay, I'm going to click off the spreadsheet. Okay. So, Mr. Popowski, I think you're present now. I think you're our virtual attendee at this point, and then ORS is in the room. Oh, Mr. he's no longer.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just listening in.
Okay.
I may be peeling off, but I'm just
Okay.
want
Okay,
to
great.
hear it.
Okay, so we're going to move forward. Mr. Popowski, do you have anything else that you want to discuss right now? If not, I'm going to move to Alex at ORS.
I have nothing.
Okay, thank you. Alex, we'll proceed.
Thank you, Jocelyn. So on the Class A and Class A restricted, on the application process document for steps 3 through 5, we think some of those steps might need to be amended in light of S1045. Again, the newspaper requirement, for example.
Do you mind if I display those?
Of course.
Okay, I'm going to move to that now. Okay, I'll just use Class A as an example. So steps 3 to 5, we need to review them for compliance with 1045. Gotcha.
Yes, ma'am. And it might be that to the extent that the information continues to apply, that it may make sense to provide in a format similar to the proposed guidance in the event of an objection that was provided for the Class E.
Oh. Okay. Okay, so include similar document, a document similar to the Class E, because an objection can be filed as it relates to any of the, I understand what you're saying. Sure.
Yeah, not that we expect a Class A application, let alone an objection.
So include the objection documents with all applications. Great, thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Oh, and the Class A also has the applicant background check similar to the Class E household good movers. So we'll just
Number 3.
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Reiterate basically just the discussion previously on that. That's all that I have on the Class A and Class A restricted. If it suits you, I can turn to discuss the Class Cs.
Yes, please.
So on the application process document for all of the Class C applications, step 3 may require additional review for compliance with 1045, S1045, and the changes to the notice and application processes.
Yes.
On the application process document, for all Class C applications except charter buses. Step 4.A regarding the license decal sticker and payment of the fee. ORS is still reviewing whether any changes might be needed to this section based on the changes in S1045, and so we would just ask for the opportunity to submit supplemental comments addressing step 4A.
Okay, so is this the correct section? I'm on a Class C. Oh, you said not charter bus.
Yeah, every other Class C charter.
Okay.
Or Class C application.
All right, let's find another one. Okay, here's taxi, and you said step 4. Here we are.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. The license decal sticker and the mailing of payment. So yeah, we at ORS we're still reviewing the impact of S1045 on basically what that section should say, and so we just respectfully ask for the opportunity to provide a follow-up comment on that after we've completed our own review there.
All right, so is it all of four? I'm following you what I was writing. All of four or just 4A?
Just for
Just 4A, okay. Okay,
On the application for stretcher vans and taxis, it's the same criminal background check item on page 1 of the applications. On the application for non-emergency, on the exhibit on driver qualifications page, question number 6 on 12 hours of in-service training.
okay, tell me which application again? please?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I should have come with the PDF page references. It's the application for non-emergency.
Non-emergency, okay.
And it's the exhibit on driver qualifications page.
Page 7? Thank you. Okay,
Yeah, so question 6 on the 12 hours of in-service training. So ORS had recommended some changes to the training requirements and its comments on the Commission's motor
Regulations.
carrier regs. Yes, ma'am. So if those recommended changes were adopted, then we would also recommend updating this question in the application to reflect the updated regulation.
so that would be for all, this entire, okay, so,
Just
Just-
the last question, just number 6.
so Alex, will we need to address this? Will we be able to address it before the regs change? Because is this track language in the regulation as far as you know?
Currently, what's listed in number 6 is consistent with the regs as they currently stand. I guess I'm more just mentioning it as I suppose it's something that would potentially need to change in the future. So just mentioning it to, I suppose, keep it on the radar.
Okay,
That's
great.
about it.
Okay.
And that sums it up for ORS.
Okay. Okay. So ORS has completed its comments, and Mr. Popowski, do you have any further comments at this time?
No, I do not. And I wish everybody a good weekend.
Well, thank you. If you choose to remain, I'm just gonna, for everybody's, for your notes, I'm gonna state the changes that I have. You don't have to stick around if you don't want to. Going to click off, minimize the website page, and return to the hearing room page. So I was writing some notes. The first one that I have related to the comment regarding notifying existing Class E carriers that their existing rates will be considered their maximum rates unless they notify the commission. And we spoke about the pending issue, and ORS relayed their opinion, position rather, regarding that column. It won't, you can live with it. It's not your preference, but you can live with it. So that was my second note. ORS will provide the commission with a link to its sample tariff and bill of lading so that we can provide that to persons who use our website. Our directions on the Class E carrier applications, motor carrier applications, will include language that states the filed application will not be processed unless it is complete, including the carrier's, the applicant's proposed tariff. There's a note about that we want to clarify regarding legal representation when it's required. And I think we stated that the language, if an objection is filed, then the attorney must be hired. So modify our directions regarding that. On all the applications, we need to review the language regarding the background check. If the commissioners decide to proceed with, leave that language in the application, we need to identify who is the applicant. And if they are a corporation and the commissioners want to continue to receive the background check, how is the commission using this information? Okay, that was number 7 too. Why is number 3 on page 1 of 11 needed? And that was regarding the background check. That's number 7. Number 8, on all the applications, add a box for LLC in addition to corporation and the other entities, business entities listed. Page 5 of 11, Charlie talked about doesn't everyone have statewide authority, since public convenience and necessity has been stricken from the statute. And we did number 10, we decided for all the applications to move the box for statewide authority, which is currently listed under all the counties, to above the county Abbeville, and then include a couple of spaces, and then list all the counties. Another question was for the commission to consider notifying all the carriers and ask them to notify the commission if they would like to provide services statewide versus by county, because the PCNN test no longer exists. That was 10 and 11. 12, the FEIN, which ORS is looking into, but I think right now we said we're going to leave that alone. 13, page 9 of 11. Are notaries necessary? If they are necessary, move the safety certification before page 9, take the block off, the notary block, remove that, and leave it on the page, basically, that refers to pre-filed testimony. So if the notary information remains, it will only be listed once in the applications. At the top of the safety rating page, delete the language detach, complete, and return after. The exempt section on the USDOT page, basically, move the exempt language to the beginning of that page and make it clear to the filer if your services fall within this category, or the amount of weight that you carry falls within this category. Does it ask the question? If they say yes, we indicate you do not need to complete the remainder of this form. 16, are the financial statements really needed, and if so, for what purpose? 17, we need to remove any reference as it relates to notice of filings or notices being required to be published in newspapers by motor carriers for future proceedings due to act. There is an act number out there right now, but it's Bill 1045. But we do have, I just saw that today, there's an act number has been assigned. Okay. In the household goods section, there's a reference to, in the directions, to state transport police and rates. Looks like it's step number 5, number 2. Those 2 references need to be removed. 19, check all ORS website links to make sure we have the correct website links, not the old one. Any reference to an ORS fax number needs to be deleted and replaced with the email address transportation@ors.sc.gov. That's 20. 2021 for all the entities where on the first page or the second page, begin the second page where.
Jocelyn,
Yes.
I'm sorry. we were listening to what you were saying, and we were advocating in a sense. I understand that email is replacing a lot of fax, but some of the people that we deal with for the transportation applications, they don't have email.
Oh, this is not for, this doesn't relate to our.
Right, I'm
fax.
just mentioning for ORS's benefit, I guess, that if they do away with their fax number, some of our people who fax us routinely may not be able to fax y'all,
Yeah.
get stuff to you by email.
We'd have to receive it by mail in that case.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. That was 2021. Okay, add LLC to all, check which entity boxes. The empty weight column on the equipment page needs to be deleted in all the applications. 23 was regarding what we just, the most recent question about alphabetizing the list and then the column, the extra column. Now let me look through and make sure that I didn't leave anything out. Thank you for your patience. Oh, I'm not finished. I did have another page. So then Alex, after we return from the break, I apologize. For Class A and Class A restricted, and really all of the applications, we need to check to make sure the steps 3 through 5 comply with Senate Bill 1045.
Yeah, and Jocelyn, I'll say I think the Class A had different instructions than the others. So for Class A, it was steps 3 through 5, and for the Class C's, it was really just the third step.
Okay, well, we'll double check. Thank you. That would be number 24. And number 25 would includes the objection forms, documents that are currently included in Class E, that we include those in all of the applications. And 26, as with all the applications, should we include the background check question? Then we'd also check Class C, all the Class C applications for compliance. The steps 3, maybe 3, 4, and 5, we'll double check compliance with 1045. And then for all the Class Cs, step 4A, with the exception of, I think it was either charter or charter bus. You want to check. ORS is doing some research on number 4A. I think for the class, I have it here. Is that
Yes,
true?
ma'am. Regarding
Okay.
the decals, yes,
Okay,
that's correct.
Okay. Thank you. And then we'll need to once again check the background check, criminal check question. And then finally, it's just on our radar about the non-emergency application, page 7 of 8, and whether or not if the regulation, when the regulation changes, how that question should be amended. So that's probably close to 30 items. 7, 28, 29, yeah, 30. Did I miss anything?
No, ma'am. There's maybe just one item I'd hit. I think
Okay.
it was number 7 that you'd mentioned, among others, relating to the criminal background checks. And there were a couple of, I think, specific follow-ups. And I was going to see if, as part of the specific follow-up, if it might be possible to get any additional information or context on the purposes for which the criminal background checks would be used. Yeah, we certainly anticipate that applicants would be, curious about how that information could bear on their application, and if there were, any specific offenses, I guess that could be a bar,
Yeah.
or if it might be something that's a little more open-ended, like like Justice Stewart said of pornography. I know it when I see it. If that's kind of more
Yeah, the
the
test.
situation it would be used for.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. So,
Okay, yeah. I had, yeah, I'd written, so who is the applicant? And then also, what is the commission doing with this information? And then I had another, my number 7 is why is it needed if the commission is, so yes, sir.
Okay,
Those are
thank
some-
you.
No problem. Okay. So, does anyone have any other comments at this time? Well, I hope that you all understand and know that we really do appreciate your input and your time today. We did the best, staff did the best it could with the initial draft, and I'm very, we really appreciate your follow-up. We really do. It's been extremely helpful. Mr. Popowski, Mr. Terani, Ms. Mijares, Alex, Thomas and Tom. We do. We really appreciate you all.
I want to commend the commission and the ORS for moving quickly on all of this. You were ready, sprung into action as soon as the governor signed. We were all watching that. And so I would like to commend you on being expeditious about all of this.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Popowski, and as you know, we're going to do our best to do better, and that's why we appreciate you all participating today. And I know we'll see you again on the 22nd. I think I will,
Okay.
or we will.
Bye-bye.
rather.
Have a good weekend.
You too. Bye, Oris.
Thank you.
You're welcome.